Hello and welcome to Design Boss Dialogue, the podcast where bold and ambitious women in interior design come for real conversations to transform and take their businesses to new heights. I am your host, Lisa Marie El-Khadraoui, interior designer and business mentor, here to share my experiences and insights into running an interior design business, as well as empowering you to build the confident, profitable design business you've been dreaming of and truly deserve. In this space, we blend creativity with strategy to help you craft your success and thrive in the world of design. Every episode is packed with unfiltered, no BS conversations, daily inspiration, and actionable business tips to turn your passion into a thriving, cash-rich business. Together, we're redefining what it means to succeed in the interior design industry, one intentional, game-changing decision at a time. So get ready to step up, elevate, and create the design empire you've always envisioned. Welcome back to the Design Boss Dialogue podcast, the interior design business podcast for women who are ready to build businesses that feel as good on the inside as they look on the outside. I am your host, Lisa Marie El-Khadraoui, and today I want to talk about something I often see in the industry. And I see this pattern happen over and over again. And I think if you're listening to this, there's a really good chance you're either experiencing it right now or you're about to, or maybe you've gone through it. So you've started to build your foundations in your business, or they're in. And you know what I mean by that, right? The foundations of every solid business, where you understand the base of your business, your pillars, your purpose, your why, your zone of genius, your positioning, your service structure suite, all of your pricing, how are you going to go out to the industry, your marketing, like all of those lovely foundations, okay? So you're doing the work. You got the positioning sorted. You know your pricing, like I've just said. You know your visibility. You've got a process for taking clients through your journey. And maybe you've even started seeing some consistency in your bookings. You've got a couple of clients. You're more intentional now about how you show up, okay? You're not scrambling in the same way you were 6 months or even a year ago. And that's generally something to celebrate, right? That's amazing that you've got yourself through the foundational build of your interior design business, because a lot of women never even get to that point. They launch their business with none of that and just chase clients first, which you now know should never be the case, okay? But here's what I'm noticing. Once you hit that level, once your foundations are solid, a lot of designers think that the hard part is done. And I'm here to tell you that actually where it gets interesting is here. This is where the real game changes, okay? And let me paint a picture for you. You've got your foundations in place. You're starting to take clients on board. You're visible. And then something happens. Maybe it's month 3, maybe it's month 6, but you start to feel it. The inconsistency starts to creep back into your business. Some months might be strong, other months are really quiet, and you're not quite sure why. You deliver the most amazing work, but your pipeline does not feel predictable. And here's the thing. You start telling yourself a story. You think, well, this is just the nature of interior design, isn't it? Some months are busy, some months are slow. You think maybe you need to do a bit more marketing, or you need to show up a bit more on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. And you think the problem is visibility. But can I please be honest with you for a second? Visibility usually isn't the problem at this stage. The problem is that you're not actually leading your business. Let's just let that land. You're not leading your business. You're delivering in it, but you're not leading in it. Let me explain what I mean. When you're in the foundational stage, you're learning systems, you're learning how to run a discovery call, how to structure your onboarding, what your offer is, how to communicate your value. That's all about delivery. It's about the mechanics of how you work with your clients. But delivery and growth are two completely different things. And I want you to really think about that, because here's where most designers get stuck. They link that once they've mastered delivery, once they know how to take a client from inquiry all the way through to completion beautifully, that the business was just going to grow from there. that if they do the good work and show up consistently on social media, the momentum is just going to build naturally. But that's not actually how business momentum works. You see, momentum isn't created by doing more of the same thing. Momentum is created by strategic visibility, consistent sales activity, and understanding where your money is actually going. It's created by financial leadership. It's created by forecasting. It's created by knowing your capacity and building your business around it, not the other way around. And this is the piece that isn't taught in most foundational programs, because foundational work is about getting the basics right. It's about the systems and processes. But momentum work, that's about strategy and foresight and decision making. So let me give you some context here, because the numbers actually can back this up. 82%, and that's more than 4 in 5 of small business failures come down to poor cash flow management, not poor delivery, not lack of visibility, poor cash flow management. And only 40% of small business owners actually feel confident in their financial knowledge. Now, I know when I speak to a lot of women that onboard with me for the first time when we're talking about money mindset, financials, a lot of them say, I don't have any of this in place. I need to understand more of this. So the statistics are eye-watering, they're shocking. And that is why I am here to open every woman's eyes up to how to grow, sustain, and build a business on momentum that can have profit, freedom, alignment, and structure. And feel good feeling. It has to feel good for you. But you need to do it with financial roadmaps in place as well. Now, that means if you're one of the designers listening to this right now, there's a high probability that you're not entirely sure where your money is going. You might be profitable, but you're not entirely certain how or why. You might be getting regular clients, but you're not forecasting what's coming next. You might be delivering great work, but you're making decisions based on what feels right rather than what the numbers are telling you. Now, yes, we should always lean into the feeling of our business and what feels aligned, but we also need to look at the data. We need to look at the financial roadmap, the forecast, the trackers, and let that dictate where we're going as well. And here's what happens when that's your reality, okay? Every decision becomes reactive in your business. You see an opportunity and you take it because it feels good, not because it fits your capacity or your strategy. A client asks for something outside your usual scope and you say yes because you're afraid to say no. A potential collaborator reaches out and you're excited about it, but you haven't actually thought through what it would mean for your cash flow or your capacity. You're basically operating in the dark. And when you're operating in the dark, you can't build sustainable momentum. So what does this actually look like when you move from delivery focused to momentum focused? It starts with visibility, but not visibility in the way you probably are thinking about. And I'm not talking about posting more on Instagram and showing up in more lovely places. I'm talking about financial visibility, knowing what's coming in and when, knowing what's going out and why, understanding the basic rhythm of your business across the year. And here's the thing about interior design that a lot of designers don't talk about openly, is your cash flow isn't even throughout the year. Some months are busier, some months are quieter. Some months you're invoicing heavily. Other months you're in the project phase where you're working out, but you're not invoicing yet. And if you don't see that pattern, if you don't have the visibility into it, you make panic decisions, you undersell yourself. You take on work that you don't have the capacity for, you get stressed, and obviously this all leads to burnout. But when you have the visibility into that rhythm, everything changes. You can forecast, you can plan, you can make decisions that are actually aligned to where you want your business to go. And the second piece is consistency. Now, not the kind of consistency that just means showing up again regularly. I mean consistency in your decision making, consistency in your messaging, consistency in how you're moving through your business month to month, quarter to quarter. And here's why this matters. 82% of businesses fail because of cash flow problems. But you know what prevents cash flow problems? Consistency. Consistent visibility in your numbers, consistent sales activity, consistent decision making based on actual data rather than based on how you're feeling that week, And when you're consistent, you're not reacting, you are leading. And the third piece, and this is the most crucial, is understanding your capacity, not theoretically, but actually, what is your capacity? Most designers, when I ask them, how many projects can you take on in a quarter? They kind of shrug. They say, well, it depends. And I get that, but it depends on a lot of things. But here's what I'm asking you to do differently. I'm asking you to get really, really specific here, to understand not just how many projects, but what does that actually look like for your energy, for your family, for your life? What does capacity look like when you factor in the time that you want to take off? What happens to your lead times in your business? When you factor in that you actually want to have a life outside your business, just remember that we build on lifestyle. Our businesses shouldn't dictate that. Our businesses should fit in. So when you are saying yes to decisions left, right, and center without understanding your capacity, what you're naturally doing is you're making decisions off the back of panic, and you therefore are not making proper reactive decisions based on data, to then have a domino effect on your communication strategy, on your capacity, on your lead time. This all affects it. Because here's the thing that happens when you build your business around your actual capacity. Instead of trying to fit your capacity around your business, you stop burning out. You stop having feast and famine cycles. You start making decisions from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. And abundance-based decision-making absolutely changes everything. So I'm going to ask you this. Where are you right now? Listening to this podcast, are you still in that foundational delivery stage? Are you getting consistent inquiries and you're not sure what to do with them? Are you seeing growth but not sure if it's sustainable? Are you making decisions based on what feels right rather than what the numbers are telling you? Because if any of that resonates, then the work ahead of you isn't about doing more. It's not about working harder or being more visible. It's about shifting from delivery to leadership. It's about building the strategic framework that allows momentum to actually compound. And here's what I know to be absolutely true. The women who make that shift, the women who move from I deliver good work to I lead a business that's profitable, predictable, and aligned to my life, they don't do it alone. They don't figure it out by reading a blog post or listening to a podcast episode such as this. And as much as I love creating these for you, to top up your business soul strategy, they actually take one step further and they get the support they know they need. They get someone who's walked that path before, someone who can show them what's possible on the other side of this transition. Because the transition from foundational work to momentum work, it isn't just a business shift. It's a mindset shift. It's a leadership shift. It's an energy shift. And that's the kind of thing that happens when you've got someone in your corner. So I'm going to leave you with this question for the week. What would change in your business if you actually had complete visibility into your cash flow for the next 12 months? What decisions would you make differently? How would you show up differently if you knew exactly where you were headed? Just sit with that. And I'll obviously be back next week with something that builds on this whole conversation. But I would love to know your answers. So if you've listened to this, then head over to Instagram and send me a DM with your answers. Now that's it for today's episode of Design Boss Dialogue, the interior design business podcast for women who are ready to build businesses that feel as good on the inside as they look on the outside. And if this episode has resonated with you, if you've been nodding along or taking notes or can't wait to share, then please, I would love for you to screenshot and share this podcast on Instagram. Tag me at design_boss_diary and let me know your biggest key takeaways. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe so you never ever miss an episode, because we've got so much more coming this month that builds on exactly what we've talked about today. I'm Lisa Marie El-Khadraoui, and I will see you next week on the Design Boss Dialogue Interior Design Business Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Design Boss Dialogue. If you love what you heard, then please share the podcast with your friends and any women that could do with a dose of empowerment just from me. I would love to hear your thoughts around today's podcast with your key takeaways and wins, because your feedback means everything to me. Also, don't forget to leave a review as well as hit that follow button so you never miss out on any inspiring conversations with me or any other trailblazing women I have on. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes, and remember, unleashing your inner design power and unlocking your true potential is only a click away. See you next time.